This is Casper de Nora, and you're watching the Chat with Chaps live show.
Good evening and welcome to the Chat with Chaps Midweek live show. I'm your host today, Joe Zampa, and I'm joined by two people that need no introduction, especially that guy with the grey hair next to me, our leader, the one and only Chris Chapman. How you doing, Chris?
Yeah, thanks for that wonderful introduction, Joe. Thanks, mate. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Good to be here. It's been a long time. Exactly.
You got that iconic look, Chris. I think, everyone sort of see you from afar, from a distance. They can kind of spot you out in a crowd at a den, can't they, to be honest with you? But lots to talk about on Saturday, Chris. Obviously, we'll touch on that in a minute, but we'll discuss that. Before we do that, let's go to our Danish correspondent, Jesper. How you doing, Jesper?
I'm very good, Joe. Thanks. Three on the spin now. Smelling the playoffs. Being the pessimist and realist I am, I've seen Millwall in this position many, many times before. So keeping my expectations on the ground, or how you would say it. But looking forward to a very exciting Easter, and happy to be back on twice in a week now.
That's it. That's two a PB for you, isn't it? And I see you're sporting the old classic Essex Millwall shirt from the early 90s as well. Let's have a quick look.
This one, there you go.
Captain Morgan, that's it.
Quality back then, yeah.
Excellent. So, guys, very, very quickly, lots to talk about. We're going to cover off Saturday's results. We're going to talk about the charity day on Saturday for Cancer Research UK, which Chris will obviously cover off himself. We also be talking about our playoff hopes. We're talking about what if we get promoted and how would it look for us and what we need to do. I know we're probably looking too far ahead at the moment, but how would we survive in the Premiership if we did? We want to talk about agent fees as well, which has been announced today. So we will talk about that a little bit later as well. But before we do that, let's go to the chat very, very, very quickly. The first person through the door is the one and only Jeff Chandler. How you doing, Jeff?
Hey, Jeff.
Evening, boys. Congratulations on the Cancer Research Day and then on Saturday. Amazing achievement. Thank you very much, Jeff. Hughesy, how are you? Don't dream it's over. 4 to go, boys. Absolutely. As Craig says, it's on. It's on. Alex S. Evening, fellas. Chris Brown. Evening. How are you, mate? Craig Jones just says at the round table, it's on. Exactly. Everyone's excited because Chris is back on. See, Rosalind. Hello. There's a rumor going around that she bought the very, very last Cancer Research shirt. Is that correct, Chris?
I thought it was someone called, was it Augusta? But
Augusta, yeah.
I think that's Roz's Twitter handle. Yeah. Thank you. Can I just say a massive thank you to Roz because, she stepped up to the plate today. So, as always, you're a superb supporter of the channel. We really appreciate the help. So, thank you, Roz.
Absolutely. Well done, Rosalind. So, Rosalind's her name during the week, and she's Augustus in the weekend, a bit like Chris. Chris is Chris during the week, and he's Raquel. And the weekends. Barry says, hello, lads. Dave Turner, good evening, gang. Alex, who's the new boy? I don't know. I haven't seen him before. Evening, lads. A great weekend. Big E in the house. How you doing?
Hey, Big E.
Evening, everyone. Dave Turner, congratulations for Saturday. Thanks, mate. Alex has a great day on and off the pitch. Well done, boys. Cheers, Alex. 6 evening from France. Wow. London greetings, Earthlings. Mark Faulkner, evening all. Craig, sorry, what's up? And Rosalind Orzin. Oh, Augustus is my middle name. Okay, excellent. Very, very, very quickly, guys, before I hand you over to Chris, just a very, very quick hellos and thank you to the guys that I saw. I know Chris also met a lot of you guys on Saturday, but I bumped into Lewis. Lewis actually said, you better mention my name on the live. So there you go. Lewis, good to see you. Good to see Spencer as well. I don't know if you're in the house, Spencer. Spencer Ken Clark. Yeah, Ken Clark. Come away from Bristol, as Chris mentioned in his post-match analysis. David and Gary. Guys, thanks very much for coming over to us and saying hello. It's really good to put a face to a name, of course. And without further ado, I'm going to pass you over to Chris, because he wants to share some words on Saturday, and he also wants to make the announcement to give you the total raised so far for Cancer Research UK. But before he does that, guys, I'm going to embarrass him a little bit here. I just want to say, guys, you don't realise the amount of work and graft that Chris puts in for this channel. Bear in mind, he's got a full-time job, which doesn't help him too much because it's working in American sort of hours. So he's often working till very late at night and tries to kind of fit in wherever he can, especially in the mornings when he's not working, to try and do lots of stuff for Chat with Chap. So he's literally doing like a 12, 14-hour day sometimes. And the amount of graft and effort he put into Saturday is truly remarkable. I know we've all kind of pitched in, the guys, myself, guys on the podcast, and Phil Clark as well, doing lots. But obviously, Chris was the guy who put this together, instigated this. So if it wasn't for Chris, we wouldn't have got what we got for charity. So again, massive thank you, Chris. Well done, mate. And I'm going to hand you over to you now to talk about Saturday.
Well, I mean, it's choked me a little bit, Joe, if I'm being really honest, mate. But thank you for that. Much appreciated. And I think, what I will say is this is a massive team effort, just like everything on this podcast. When we started this podcast back in July, I was basically going to do a post-match. That was it. Genuinely. That was literally what we were going to do. And then just through conversations, really, the amount of help and support that, as you see, various different faces each week all contributing to a really high standard. And obviously, Joe being my partner in crime with the midweek lives and things like that, it's just grown and grown. And then when we come up with this idea, this concept of having a collection day, we need to thank the club for giving us the platform. I think we are the first kind of podcast or that kind of thing that they've enabled to do that. So a massive thank you to the club. I want to say a massive thank you to all the boys, not just for the content they put out, which, by the way, also contributes to donations to charity, but also on the day, just everything. And then, of course, finally, and probably most importantly, you guys for listening to us. Why you do, I don't know, but keep doing it because it all helps. And we just can't thank you enough. And whether you have listened, whether you've downloaded, whether you told a friend, whether you shared it on socials, whether you donated 5p or £500, you all contributed, and we are super grateful for that. So without further ado, we've been spending quite a bit of time with the guys at Cancer Research. You also deserve a mention. A massive thank you to Richard and his team on Saturday. Hopefully a few of you got the opportunity to meet that team. And what we've added up the totals, right? And the totals will consist of various different factors, which we will share because with complete transparency, we'll share all of the information. But the totals consist of cash donations on the day, donations that are made by card on the day or our phones that turned into card machines. Of course, the T-shirts, which after costs, and again, massive thank you to Martin for doing those T-shirts at such a reduced rate for us. We really do appreciate it.
And great quality as well, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, I've watched this 12 times.
Yeah.
But massive thank you to him. So the T-shirt sales, then anyone that's gone on to the website, the fundraising page, and has donated. And then, of course, on top of that, we have just today topped that amount up with the podcast revenue that we receive from anyone that listens to us on Spotify or Apple or Amazon Music or anything like that. So when you put all of that into a giant pot, this is where we can start the drum roll, I think.
So let's get the setting right. Are we over there? Are we?
It does it automatically.
Oh, is it? We're using that one, are we? Okay. Sorry. Where are we?
It does it.
Yeah.
All you got to do is click the thing.
We actually rehearsed this, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Not that we're nervous or anything.
No. Okay, hang on. Here we go. Ready, guys? Hang on.
Drum roll. How much is it going to be?
Wow.
£8,000.
Look at that.
£145 and 55 pence. Gobsmacked and just blown away by everyone that's contributed to that. I mean, I I thought if we did a couple of grand, we'd have done a fantastic job. So to see numbers like that is just testimony to what a unique, special club we are, and how generous. The generosity of Millwall fans is just unbelievable. And do you know what, as well, hearing everyone's individual stories on Saturday, how many people, you just seem to, you come to the realization of how many people are affected by this poxy disease. And it just makes it all worth it. So that is the number. We actually have had one or two donations since then, because we did this graphic at lunchtime.
Wow.
But this is the number, and all I can say is a massive thank you to every single person involved from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Absolutely. Again, fantastic work, Chris, on behalf of us in the podcast, the listeners, the Mill fans, everyone that sort of donated. Again, thanks for all your organisation, because again, if it wasn't for you, and I'm not ashamed to, it's embarrassed to admit it, if it wasn't for you, this wouldn't happen. That money wouldn't have been raised to such a worthy charity. And like you say, the amount of people that have been affected through cancer, doesn't matter how old you are. You could be young, middle-aged, older person. Unfortunately, it's a horrible, horrible disease. So hopefully that will go a long way to helping the cause, and in trying to find a solution to this. And again, just fantastic work and brilliant stuff for you, mate. Well done.
Yeah, well done, everyone. Well done.
Yeah, right. I'm going to take this back to the screen. Guys, there are some pictures here I want to share with you on the day. So I'll let Chris sort of talk through these ones. So who's that guy next to you there, Chris?
Don't know. Some random bloke that wanted an autograph. No, that's Mr. Mike Fairbrother, who, again, thank you to him. Couldn't have been more supportive of what we were trying to achieve on the day. So, yeah, he came over, saw us, did a personal donation and things like that. And then the players, like every single player that we asked for help. A big thank you to Max at Millwall and Alex Russell, who went out of their way to get all the signatures from the players. It obviously enabled us to sell those T-shirts. And then you can see here, that isn't me. That is Steve Morrison signing shirts and holding them up. And massive thank you to Phil Clark, who organised a lot of that. Really important that he gets a thank you. And then sorry, Joe, if you go back to the previous one, because I just want to also share that Mr. David Ford on the right hand side of that picture. We both Joe and I did an interview with Mr. Ford in our kind of like under the Kosh style that we call Once a Lion series. So that will be out in a few days. I just need to do some more fine tuning on the editing, because lo and behold, Joe, if you recall, a fire alarm went off when we were recording.
It did.
There's a bit of editing that needs to happen.
I love the fact we try to be really cool about it as well. We thought we always going to carry on and try and ignore it, but this fire alarm would not turn off. It wasn't actually a drill. It was actually a real fire alarm that went off, weren't it?
They were like, get out.
Get out. And the funny thing is, Fordy goes to the toilet. We're all supposed to evacuate the building. I then go into thinking, hang on a minute, is this going to burn down in a minute now? They'll be going, trying to find Fordy. But no, it's an incredible day. It's such a long day for us, Chris, wasn't it? But it was worth it, really, really worth it. And it couldn't have gone any better from start to finish, could it?
No, it couldn't. And when you think about the context of what that day is as well, in terms of Dockers Day, in terms of obviously remembering Dave Memmott, and then the sunshine was out. We raised a hell of a lot of money, and we got 3 points. And with the Coventry result last night, we're potentially in the mix. So it's just been a fantastic week to be a Millwall fan and be a part of the Millwall family. And just one more time, a massive thank you to every single person that's involved in the Chat with Chaps family.
Thanks, Chris. And again, there's the final amount again, guys. One more time, just sort of see that. So incredible. Okay, so back to the football on the pitch. Jesper, sorry to keep you there for all that time. We'll go to you first. Just want to get your thoughts on our performance. Obviously, such an important result to keep our dreams and hopes alive for a playoff place. What did you make of our performance on Saturday?
I listened to Chris's post-match as well. I think the first half was a bit gritty. We were struggling a little bit to create anything of any real sorts, really. But at the same time, we kept them quiet. We stayed in the game, which was really important. And then I think second half, we tweaked it. And that's what he's been doing so well, Alex, that if we can't find a solution with plan A, we find a plan B, and it worked very well. We had them under the cosh for first 15, 20 minutes. We deserved the goal. Unfortunately, Negley had to go out injured, which probably means that he won't play more this season, which is a shame. But again, as mentioned, this could be 3 points that could be so vital. Again, I'm a bit hesitant with the playoffs. I'm not going to say we're not in it, because we are. There are 5 teams, as I see it, and there are 2 spots up for grabs. Blackburn, we're playing, they're 7 points away. I think that's just too far, too big a stretch for them to catch up with. But I think the 5 teams who are in it around the playoffs spots now will, 2 of them will take the places. And my gut feeling is that either Coventry or Bristol City will take one of the spots, and then the 3 teams below, West Brom, us, and who was the last one? Middlesbrough will take the last one. So, but it's up for grabs. And as I mentioned last week, this is about momentum. It's about carrying momentum into these games. We've got a manager who's been here before. He's been in the playoffs before. He knows how to get into the playoffs. So I'm like, why not? But at the same time, not being pessimistic, but come Monday, 5 o'clock, we could also say could be end of the season. So who knows? But we're in it. We can allow ourselves to dream. We should. We're playing a Blackburn side on Friday, who's won 1 game in the last 9. So we should be full of confidence going up there. Although I just checked, we have only beaten Blackburn twice in the last 13 games, and we haven't won at Ewood Park since, I don't know, the last 10, 12 years. So, wow. But things are there to be changed.
Records meant to be broken. Exactly. Jesper. Chris, I know you've done your post-match analysis. Guys, if you've been living under a rock and you haven't seen Chris's post-match analysis, then I beg you to go and watch them every week after each game. And it does feel you kind of recycling what you said last time, Chris, but just get in your own words, what was your assessment of the performance on Saturday? We will talk about players individually, but just as a unit, as a whole, what do you make of your performance of the side?
Yeah, I think that the first half was a pretty poor performance, but this is where I give credit to Alex Neil, because he saw that, and at half time he could see that we needed another body further up the pitch and to play similarly to how we did against Sheffield United. He made the change, and I think we grew in ascendancy. I think we had a couple of nearly moments, just about 50 minutes, and then he makes the big change, right? And it's quite fitting that Saville wins the ball. He plays it to Negley. Negley gives it to Aziz. Aziz then plays it back to Negley, and we score. I thought the second half performance was everything Mill was all about: grit, determination, fighting. I think there's no doubt that Middlesbrough are prettier on the eye than us, but we restricted them to long-range efforts. And I was actually listening to a review of the midweek fixtures with Sam Parkin, and he talked about how, again, just giving credit to Alex Neil and his tactical agility. Like at times he plays 2 up top, at times he plays 1 up top. But the way he sets up each game, and he doesn't always get it right, but I think he needs to take a lot of credit. And I think we've got a manager that is a really good balance between solid championship manager, good tactician, but also has a little bit of Millwall-ness about him. He's not a Millwall fan. He's not a Millwall man, but I think he's a really good blend of all of those things. So look, we go into Friday, and if we can somehow get a win with the other fixtures, I think West Brom are playing, is it Middlesbrough? Sunderland are playing. They're all playing each other, right? So we have an opportunity to kind of really up the ante and put the pressure on the teams above us. And if we're able to do that, wow, Monday will be some atmosphere at home to Norwich.
I couldn't agree with you both more. And just touch on the Alex Neil part there, Chris, as well. I mean, I think everyone had their kind of doubts and weren't too sure about him at the beginning. But to be fair to you, I think you kind of backed him right from the beginning, didn't you? You were the one who were quietly confident that he might be a good fit for us. And you're right. I think tactically, he's shown that what he's about. He gets us. I don't recall there ever being, there you go.
Me and my mate.
Exactly. That's when that's before shit chat turned to the silver grey fox. And Alex Neil probably had less hair then now than he does now. But he gets us. There's not many managers that come in that are not a Millwall type, come from the Millwall cloth, if you like Harris did, that actually get us. And he picked up that very, very quickly. And I love the way how he kind of brings the fans into place. Yeah, we've seen the likes of Rowett in the past, Joe Edwards probably struggle a little bit, in really, maximising the opportunity with the fans. Whereas I think Alex Neil sort of picked up on that very, very soon and very, very early. And I think he's used that to his advantage by bringing us on side. Couldn't be happy with last few performances. And, the opportunity is still there for us to challenge for the playoffs. Chris, just going back to yourself very quickly. Any players that you want to give honourable mentions to? I know, obviously, Negley scored the goal. He played a bit part and unfortunately went off injured. What's your thoughts on him being back? Aziz, Billy Mitchell, there's a real kind of revival there, Billy Mitchell at the moment as well. And Crammer, of course, don't forget.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've called him there. I think for me, I know Crammer got man of the match and he deserves so many plaudits, not just because of his performance then, but just his, we don't miss Tanganga, and that's the biggest credit I can give him, and his availability and adaptability. He's played right back, centre back, and he's played like pretty much every minute. Well, not every game, but you know what I mean? So I want to give credit to him. I said this in my post-match, but for me, that was Billy Mitchell's moment in a Millwall shirt. And I think, we spoke to Fordy about this, right? What was his moment, his defining moment? And I think that was, hearing the fans sing his name would have done him the world of good. He went round sort of fist pumping and all that kind of thing. And I think he deserves that because regardless of whether you've rated Billy, one thing you can absolutely categorically not deny is the effort level is always there. He gives everything he can for that shirt. So I'm really pleased for him. But two other players I want to mention are, and maybe not just necessarily for that game, but is George Honeyman and Ryan Leonard, because they've both been out injured and they've come back in and they played 3 times in a week. And they don't look like they've been away. If anything, I think George Honeyman has been more effective in the last 3 games. I thought he was excellent at Sheffield United. And then Ryan Leonard has played pretty much every minute. I think he played the last 20 minutes at right mid when we had to take Negley off. So a mention for those guys because, they're not all glitz and glamour, but you need Millwall players. And I think they have that in abundance. So, it's great that you're not struggling to find praise for just one player, right? You look at it, and I'd love to talk about Mihailo as well. I thought he had a really good game, a good week. So, the list is endless, I suppose.
Absolutely. And there's no surprises we are in the position we find ourselves in. As you say, Chris, it's not just one or two players. I think there's a whole catalogue of players that are all playing their part, whether they're starting games or coming off the bench. They're all being very, very effective. Hence the reason we're in the position where we're in, Jesper, at the moment. What's your thoughts on individual players, Jesper? Is anyone that sort of sticks out for you that you felt needs a bit of extra praise?
I think they have been mentioned. Billy Mitchell, Tristan Crammer. It was, if you, apart from the Middlesbrough game, the game against Sheffield United, his first game in central defence, phenomenal. Billy as well, and they just carried on. We played midweek, then we go Saturday again. We played Borough, another tough team, and they put in 2, if not even a better performance that Saturday. It was just great to see. And what I noticed that Alex Neil mentioned in an interview, which I found very interesting in terms of tactics and players, is that, and I think we have spoken a little bit about it in the chat as well, about how we don't seem to play the same team, the same formation 2 weeks in a row. I think he's still trying to figure out how to get the most out of the players. And he mentioned that it's usually not his sort of formation to play 2 up front, but it gets the best out of Coburn because he's got Ivanovic with him, which makes us even more potent going forward. So I think he's just simply looking to see, how can I maximize us going forward? How can I make us even more dangerous going forward? And I think that's why we played a 4-4-2, 3-5-2, and a 4-2-3-1, if you may. So he's really been, tinkling with formation and personnel, and he switched Aziz from right to left. And there's just been many players who's been sort of switched around where we thought, well, hang on, what's going on here? He's really trying to find that formula, and I think he's starting to find something that's working for him and which is working for the team. It's really just positive to see. So and he's not afraid to go for it. We also spoke about we haven't really seen Millwall go for it, but when you play 2 up top with an amputated team against Sheffield United away, that tells me you're going for it. You're at least trying. And he put 3 on at the 60th minute against Borough because we needed that win. We're going for it. So just very positive in terms of how we attack games, how we try and figure out how to get the best out of the individuals. So I would say that's the main standout for me. But there were so many good performances on Saturday, really.
Absolutely, and I think we've all touched on the same sort of thing, where I think Alex Neil does play a very, very big part in these players' performances. I mean, a few guys in the chats there mentioned about the likes of Joe Bryan. Now, Joe Bryan has never been a bad player, Jesper. I think he's always been someone who we can see has got the quality, or at least has played at a high level, but he's never really quite delivered. But for him to come out and say things like Alex Neil is the best manager I've ever played under, it's incredible that the guy's 31 years of age and he's now claiming that Alex Neil is the best manager I've played under. And I can only imagine there's lots of players in that team that feel very similar to Joe Bryan does, and hence the reason why their performance has improved. What is it that Alex Neil does, you feel, that makes him such a special manager, gets best out of our players?
Well, unfortunately, I'm not behind the scenes at Calman Road, so I don't really know what's going on. But I think there must be a certain attention to detail that goes into the training, that goes into the pre-match preparations as well, that's sticking out, and which I think the players are taking notice of. I think it must be something along those lines, because, it's just there's so many, not many, but there are players who I think seems to be improving, the likes of Billy, Joe Bryan, as you mentioned, at the age of 31, even Mihailo, I think, starting to find his feet even more. I think his hold-up game against Borough was a lot better. He even won a decent amount of flick-ons as well. So it's just I don't know. It must be the preparations and as I said, attention to detail. I think Cooper mentioned that as well in an interview, that he's really got attention to details and details that the players were not even aware of sometimes, which I think was quite interesting to hear.
Yeah, no, cheers up, Jesper. And Chris, just want to get your thoughts on Alex Neil as a coach. I mean, obviously we interviewed David Ford on Saturday, and he talked the importance of the psychology of getting inside the brain of the players and what things to sort of say to motivate them and kind of get the best out of them. It seems like Alex Neil's got a knack of getting the best out of players. We hear lots of players talk about how thorough he is, as Jesper said, about tactics and how we set up to play against certain teams, and they've got a game plan and instructions and stuff. I mean, he's an incredible part of that, and I suppose a lot has to be praised given his way to get the best out of our players. With, let's be honest, a very, very small, depleted squad at the moment.
Yeah, 100%. And I think I always go back to when we got battered at Plymouth, right? And he come out and he accepted responsibility. And I think just going back to the basics of psychology in the interview we did with Steve Salas and some of the things that Fordy mentioned, right? That goes a long way, because you're not passing the buck onto players. You're not blaming them. You're having their back. And I think that the faith that they've re-shown it. I mean, how many players could you say really have gone backwards under Alex Neil? The only player I think actually, and this is a talking point because I'm going to have to go because I've got a work meeting. Brilliant. I would say the only player that's gone backwards under Alex Neil, but I don't blame Alex Neil, is Tanganga. And I'd love you to discuss that.
That's interesting. That's
one for me. And I'm a massive...
Yeah. Well, we both are, aren't we?
Yeah.
So that's absolutely spot on. You're absolutely right with that assessment there, because you're right. Up until that point, I think Tanganga was leading the way last year, wasn't he? And he was by far superior. But there's an argument to say since January, maybe his form has dropped a little bit. Don't get me wrong. I think he's still one of the best defenders in the Championship. But you look at all the other players, how they've improved, and he's slightly gone down, I guess, in some sort of ways. That's a great shout there, and it does make you wonder, doesn't it? How can they sustain that kind of performances from Tanganga when I guess he's reached such a high, hasn't he?
This is it, mate. This is it. But look, I'll let you discuss that. But it's going to be one in, one out, because I'm going to drop off, and you've got someone coming in who's a lot better than me, a lot better looking. And no, it's Paul actually, maybe not.
How you doing, Paul? So Chris is just leaving now. And again, Chris, behalf of the guys in the chat, the listeners, thank you for all the work you're doing, mate. Thank you for creating this channel. And again, that amount there, which I showed to the guys who just joined the live. That is what we've raised so far in a short period of time, literally since July, August last year, which is astonishing. It's absolutely unbelievable. Well, it's all down to your support as well, guys.
Joe, one thing there, that does not include the revenue that is made from YouTube, from the advertising.
Right.
That's separate.
So that's going to be added on at the end of the season?
We'll do that at the end of the season, yeah.
Okay.
So, because a lot of that is because you guys listen, and I want to make sure you see the donation made specifically for that. So this is we've got more to come.
Excellent. And am I right in thinking, just the listeners before you go there, Chris? Sorry, the 4D interview will be out soon. Just going through editing at the moment, isn't it? From my understanding.
Correct. It's going through editing because when you do it in person, it's a whole different ball game, right? So there's a whole different level of editing required. So I'm no expert, but working for Adobe, I'm trying to learn. So I'm doing my best. So
Well, if you can't do it, we're all screwed, aren't we? We're all fucked. So nice one, Chris. I'll let you go. I know you got a call now, work call. So thanks again, guys. Thanks a lot, Chris. Cheers, mate. Take care. Incredible. So Paul, how are you, mate?
Yeah, well, mate. Well, a little bit tired. We ended up with just did kids training, and it ended up being a parents versus under-12s football match.
Oh,
so
I remember those
we
days.
Smashed them.
You smashed them. I can imagine you going 2 foot on them as well. A hat trick as well.
Hat trick. Third one, left foot scissor kick. If I can get the evidence, I'd have that every week. But,
those poor kids that he's knocked out the way at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Trying to get that hat trick. You can imagine it now, can't you? You know. I must say,
me, mate. So it doesn't really make a difference.
I must say, every year, I remember doing it with my son when he was younger through the age groups, and like when they're under 6, under 7, you kind of go a little bit easy. They get under 9, under 10s, gets a little bit harder. He's now under 17, so I tell you what, they fucking take the piss out of us. It's like honestly, it just goes full circle. So at the moment, enjoy it while you can, Paul. I'll tell you what, it's going to change. What's your thoughts on Saturday, Paul? Obviously, you were there with your 2 kids, who I thought were absolutely brilliant. Bless them, they were doing lots of work, and fair play to them for all the collections they were doing, raising money for charity as well. And you bought them a well-earned ice cream at the end, I hope, as well, didn't you?
Yeah. Queued up, got them an ice cream. They got paid for the day. That was their payment. So yeah,
that's their payment.
They learned a lot as well, so it was good. It's good.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
The game.
Would you make of the before we talk about the game? Sorry, the actual day, the charity day itself.
Oh, it's fantastic, wasn't it? It just makes it all feel worth it as well. Like when you think about all the effort that people put in behind the scenes, and then you come out, that figure when it came out, I had to look about it 3 times. I couldn't believe the generosity, and we saw Chris and you. Have you named some of the people and stuff like that already? Just some of them were just amazing.
Mention names if you can remember. I tried to mention a few myself. I know Chris mentioned some on his post-match analysis. If you can remember any names yourself.
Yeah, no, that I think he covered them because I texted them over to him. But just such good people.
Yeah, absolutely. And the performance, Paul, would you make of Saturday's performance against Middlesbrough?
Yeah, I mean, first half was edgy, wasn't it? And they was on top. They found a lot of space. Couldn't wait for half time to come. And then second half was just a completely different, like the old game of 2 halves. It was just unbelievable, wasn't it? It's only one team winning it. And it just had everything, didn't it? Had everything Saturday.
Absolutely. And player performances, I mean, is there any individual performances you feel need a mention for you?
Kramer was unbelievable, wasn't he? He got man of the match.
Yeah.
Billy, I loved it. I just like seeing him become I feel like, it sounds silly because I'm 40, so I'm not as if I'm old, but not your age. But when you see someone like Billy, who you've seen as like a kid, and I feel like he's becoming the man now. Do you know what I mean? Like when you see him fist pumping the fans and they're singing his name and he's getting it. And I've always said I just really rate him as a player, as a person. I think he's quality. So it was lovely to see him. Joe Bryan was brilliant again. I'm hoping he's not injured because he kind of, before their chance at the end where Jensen saved it, it looked like he pulled his groin.
Yeah.
And that's what he had all the trouble with before. So I'm really hoping that's not an injury because he really struggled. And I think that's how the ball bounced over him and obviously how they got in. But hopefully they can manage him through.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
so just you say something there. Yeah, yes, as well. Absolutely, yeah. Sorry, but was you going to add to that as well? Was you sorry, mate?
No. Sorry.
All right, okay, no. I completely agree with you, Paul, mate. And great performance. I think the first half was a little bit flat. I think we're trying to contain him. I guess that's all part of the game plan, isn't it? Don't concede early, control the game. I do feel the turning point is when Negley and Aziz come on, and Saville as well. I think Kasper looked a little bit tired. To be fair to Kasper, he's played every single game this season for large chunks of it, and you can see that he probably needs a little bit of rest at the moment. And a lot of players carry injuries, and it's very hard to recover fully when you're constantly being asked to play every minute of every game mostly. So hopefully they can sort of look after him this week, and he'll be back for Friday, of course. But yeah, great performance from the boys. Such a shame about Negley, Paul, and then Jesper. I want to get your thoughts on Negley, because we all knew what Negley was about before he went injured, and he come back and suddenly he looked like the Algerian Messi, didn't he? Like, he looked so good on the ball, the quality, the way he took that goal as well. You're thinking, we've got a Premiership player in our hands here. You see that thing in the Premier League. You don't see that in the Championship, do you? The way he did that. Just what's your thoughts on him? And hopefully we'll get him back soon. But do you think he's a real deal? Is he the replacement for Esse we're all hoping for?
Yeah, definitely.
We'll go first, then you just
go first.
All right, Jim.
All right, go on.
I can go? All right.
Yeah.
Well,
we waiting for a long pause. Oh, God.
I know. No, but he hasn't played that much, has he? But as you said, when he came on, he was very good. He's got that close control that I think we've been missing sometimes when we enter the final third of the pitch. The way he spun the midfielder and passed it to Aziz and then got into the box and was at the end of things. That's what we want to see. It's I wouldn't say it's a simple spin, but it's composure, and it's a little bit of flair that gets you very far in this league. And we have to remember, and this is something that I've been banging the drum on for a long time about these foreign players. He came from a team in Holland struggling at the bottom of the league. Imagine what you could get if you got some players from the, mid-table of the league. It's a really, really good standard over there. And I'm not saying the Championship is a bad league, because it's not. It's very competitive, but there's so much talent to be found also on the continent. And I hope that we will be looking there again this summer for hidden gems or out of contract players, and it doesn't have to be Serbia. It can be Holland, it can be Belgium, it can be countries around England. But to answer your question, yes, he looked good, and it's just so unfortunate that he had to hobble off with an injury. But I guess Alex Neil was very fair in his post-match and said this was the risk we had to take. We had to get a goal, and unfortunately Camille had to walk off. At the same time, these 3 points could be vital come end of the season. So, yeah, I feel sorry for the kid, but I hope we'll see a lot more of him. Next season, of course.
Absolutely, and you're absolutely right. And Alex Neil mentioned that as well. Then the fact that if that's a small part he plays and scores that goal and gets the 3 points that gets into the playoffs, so you got to say thank you, Negley, and we'll see him next season. Paul, before we come to you, just want to say hello to Febs. Febs, I don't know if you're still in the chat remember. Good to see you, mate. And Bristol City still in the mix. Let's hope that we're there joining you. Might even get you in a final if you finish 5th and we finish 6th. So who knows? Paul, just get your thoughts on Negley, mate. Was you impressed with him in that short period that he played second half?
Yeah, I think the little turn on the halfway line to spray the ball out to left before, that's kind of where I see him coming in field and picking up the ball, spraying out wide, getting in the box, and then it was a great finish. Like Jesper said, he's gutting. It depends how you look at it, right? So we've signed him, record fee, injured, comes back injured. So you could be all negative, but I love the fact that Alex Neil come out and went, yeah, that's on me. Like he shouldn't have been on for that long. The way the game was going, I've thrown him on. I don't blame him. I've done this to him, and I just again, he's just a proper manager, isn't he? Even if he was told he could do that, the way he stepped in and basically said, "Don't dig him out straight away." All the fans are like, "Oh, he's class. We'll see you next season then," rather than, "Oh, for fuck's sake, he's injured or whatever."
It's refreshing, isn't it?
It changes the narrative.
We're saying before you came on here, Paul, about what is it about Alex Neil? Like, we talk about players like Joe Bryan, saying about, he's the best manager I've ever played for. And Joe Bryan's like 31 years of age, I think, at the moment. So, a lot of players come out and talk about how he is. And I think he's man management, the way he is. And you mentioned him there, taking the blame away for the player. So before the fans start questioning, is he injury prone? He's saying, no, that's on me. What is it about him? I mean, he's an incredible guy, really. You think about him, both on and off the pitch, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's just a class manager. His record says that. Max, the one who does Mill TV, he come out and had a quick chat with us, check him around when we was doing the cancer research.
Saw him,
lovely guy, and he was saying about when they do their stuff on a Tuesday. He said you just don't even bother with Alex half the time. That you come back later because he is ingrained in what he's watching. He's watching other teams. He's watching formations. He's watching patterns of play. He's just so intense and how he wants things done that the players haven't got an excuse. And I think you'll see us how we're playing now. You're going to see when we do cherry pick a few players over the summer, you're going to see the same patterns of play, but with the different players dropped in, and I think it'll be even better.
Yeah, I agree. Staying with yourself, Paul. Another topic I want to talk about is, let's say we get into the playoffs. I'll tell you what. Let's dream. Let's say we win the playoffs and we go into the Premier League. How will we survive in the Premier League if we got in the Premier League next season? We've seen Southampton really struggle. I mean, they're regarded as probably one of the worst Premier League sides point-wise, with their performance this season. And they were absolutely smashing it last season, didn't they, Southampton? They were a real good side. What does it take, for us to sort of be sustainable in the Premier League if we were to go up? And, how do you see that kind of panning out, really?
Oh, mate, you've asked the wrong person. I can't even pretend to believe. I'm told in a tweet, if it happens, my ideal plan would be that we make it to the end of August without getting some kind of club suspension, fine, ground closure, ref attacks. That would, if we made it to the end of August, I think we've done well. We get that first month's Premier League money in the bank.
Watch a few games before it's all played behind closed doors.
We'll get the season ticket.
No, exactly. Let's hope we get Liverpool, Man City the first month before we all banned. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not, for me, it's not even, it sounds stupid, right? Because I think a lot of the time, the journey's better than the destination, right? So it would be the fact that what we're doing now would be the amazing bit. The Premier League is a bit where you're like, oh, this is shiny, and then it'll wear off when you, like the other teams are 15, 17 points at the bottom. But if it did happen, mate, I'd love it. I'd love it to happen once. I'd love it, just even if it was just to give Jimmy some money back and put some money towards a training ground. That's as simple as it'd be. Buy some younger players and prepare for when you come down and keep building. That's all I'd ask for. But we'll worry about that when we get there.
Exactly. And Jesper, how about yourself? Interesting, when we're doing the collection money guests on Saturday, and Barry Rogan, I don't know if you guys know in the chat, a few of you who are a little bit older might remember Barry Rogan. I'm sure it's his name, Barry Rogan. He used to be a right winger for Millwall years ago, didn't he?
Gary Cogan,
maybe, yeah.
Cogan,
lovely guy. I mean, he's been at Millwall working in hospitality for about 20 odd years, 25 years now. Although I think he left the hospitality, come back a little bit for a Dockers Day on Saturday. But he was under the impression, I don't want Mill to go up. He said, I want to get to the final, have a day out at Wembley, he said, but I don't want to go up because they're going to embarrass themselves. It's going to look really bad on the club. And I get his point, and I reckon there's lots of fans out there probably feel the same way. But I, for one, a bit like yourself, Paul, and we'll come to Jesper in a minute, I would love to see Mill get in the Premier League just once. I was 10 years old when Mill got promoted to the old First Division, the top flight. And I tell you what, that was an amazing amazing time. But the First Division then wasn't like what the Premiership is now. They're levels, hundreds of levels apart, And as good as it felt back then, and it really did, the first time in history to play in the top flight of football, what it'll mean, to see Millwall play in the Premier League, playing shoulder to shoulder with all these big teams that we talk about, it'll be astonishing, Jesper, wouldn't it? I mean, what's your take on that, and how do you think we would cope if we did go up?
I think I want to be a bit more ambitious. I mean, just like you, Joe, I want us to go up as well. I also think the money we could get would be life-changing for a club like Millwall. I mean, we're talking money between, I just sort of read a few articles before coming on, between 150 and 300 million pounds that they could bring in revenue to the club, which is mental compared to what we are making now. And then the other question, like, how do you survive in the Premier League? I saw a tweet from Danny Baker, who had been to the game against Borough as well, and he said, like, do we want to go up this season? No, thank you very much. Next season, maybe. But is there a good time to go up? If you go up, you go up.
True.
I mean, when we saw Luton go up, everyone thought they're going to come down with 5 points and they're not going to win a single game. And they actually did pretty well for themselves. I think they did okay compared to what people expected. I think what is important, and I was also reading an article some time ago with Thomas Frank when Brentford got promoted. Tiny stadium, tiny club. I don't think they ever been to the Premier League before, had they? And he said, we used to dominate. I don't know if you recall how many goals they scored in the Championship when they, before they got promoted, and the season they actually got promoted. I think it was a total 2 seasons they scored around 162 goals or something. It was mental. But he said, when we went up, we need to do Brentford 2.0, and we need to be more pragmatic. We need to be more defensively solid. We're not going to have as much as the ball, and that's fine. I'd rather focus on how can we create chances, how can we be more effective. And I think if you look at the teams that went up this year, Ipswich, Leicester, and Southampton, they haven't really done much since they came up. They play the same way they did in the Championship last season, and they're paying for it now because they steamrolled the league, didn't they? What did they get at Southampton? They went to the playoffs with 88 points? Was it 90 points? It was mental. But it's just a different league, so you need to adjust yourself. You need to, you just need to realize that you won't be the best side, and far from it. And I think one of the strengths that we do have in this team is we're very solid. We're hard to beat. And I think if you can add layers to that in an attacking sense, then I think, I'm not saying we would survive, but I think we could do maybe a better job than what they've done with the correct. I mean, we need reinforcements, of course we do, but I think we could maybe, I don't know, I think we could do okay, actually, without embarrassing ourselves too much.
I agree. I think Steve agrees with your point there, Jess. When you read that comment there, he says that I'm certain we would put a better fight than Southampton have this year. You can't play Premier League footballers off the pitch as a Championship team. You need to scrap, and that suits us. So to your point, I think that's what you were saying, basically. You got to
And can you survive the first year? Then you can add another layer and another layer, and again that's what the likes of Brentford and Brighton and Bournemouth have done, and they're doing really well. Yeah. Look at clubs like Tottenham and Manchester United. They're supposed to be big clubs in the league, not doing very well, are they? So if you find the right formula and you're being patient and not trying too much too quickly, then who knows? So let's see. But
exactly. And Paul, before we come to you, sorry, it was Barry Rowan. That's it, Barry Rowan Hughesy. Cheers for that, mate.
You remember Barry Cogan?
Barry Cogan.
He was actually big shorts, right winger. That's what I thought you were talking about. I think he had shit stains on. He played one game. He had like he literally shit himself. He just stuck with him. But
Barry Rowan, I think he played I think
Barry Rowan is before our time, Paul.
Yeah. When you said 25 years, I was thinking, yes, that's not the right player.
No. 25 years he was working in the hospitality suite.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think
he was an old boy then. Yeah,
that's what I mean. Barry Cogan's I think he's the same age as us, or me, whatever. Yeah, so definitely wrong one.
He was in that FA Cup finals,
wasn't he? Are we? He was. Yeah, he was. You're right. Exactly. He's in the squad for that. David Turner. I'm actually going to be 50 this year, believe it or not. So appreciate you saying that. So Paul, I mean, how did you answer that? I mean, how do you see us sort of featuring in the Premier League if we did make it?
Yeah, it would be as just Steve and Jesper said. Basically, we'd be defensive, we'd be counter-attacking. I don't know. It'd take a lot, wouldn't it? It'd take a lot of signings, a lot of planning. Obviously, what would happen with this we're signing young and hungry? Would you still go down the same route? Would that work? There's loads of stuff you'd have to think about. But yeah, I sound pessimistic. I can't believe it. My brain doesn't work. Like I can't envisage it until we get a bit closer. I won't let it happen. So I'm like, it's not happening. And then if we get to the final 90th minute, we're 4-0 up, I'll think about leaving a little bit, and then I'll be able to answer, mate.
You know what makes me sort of laugh is that you look at Luton. Yeah, when Luton went up season before last, and they played it very much like, they played it very much like a 4-4-2 formation, didn't they? With the big two lumps up front, and you think that they're set up. If we're gonna go up, we'll probably do it their way. But yet they struggled, didn't they, Luton? Yeah, and they got relegated. They probably put up more of a fight than Southampton did, didn't they?
If everyone's going to struggle, mate, it's without, again, I must sound like a twat, but it's in my opinion, that take the money away, it's just a horrible league. Like, it's dead. Like the fact that you've got 17 points, whether it's between third and fourth bottom, it's ugly. They don't want to share the money with us. They don't want to. So the gap is that big now that you have to do a Nottingham Forest and do a stupid £200 million to just about stay up. We ain't going to do that.
I was going to say that. And by the way, cheers, David. I appreciate that, mate. What I was going to say to you is Forest, at the time, a lot of fans and the media were taking the piss out of them a little bit, saying, look at them, they've signed 25 players before the season started. Like, what the hell are you doing? But that first season was a rebuild, and they had enough quality in that squad to survive. And then look at them this season. Just exactly. But look at them this season. They had a whole season under the belt. They survived, and now this season, look at them. They look like a Premiership team. Well, they have been a Premiership team. They're playing on the front foot. They're playing good football, possession football, attacking football. It's incredible, really, to see, isn't it? And I think in some ways, is that the better way of doing it, Jesper? Do you not think maybe that you have to kind of spend, what's the word? You got spend to accumulate. Speculate to accumulate, exactly, yeah.
But that's what it is. It's speculation and it's gambling, because if you go down the following season, you don't have the windfall to sort of cover that amount. And we've seen it so often that these teams that get relegated after one season, they have to sell off half the team again, and then you have to rebuild. Over. I would probably not sign 20 or 25 players. It's also, you got players who got promoted, and I think those players, at least some of them, would also deserve a chance to play in the Premier League. The best of them, of course. But I don't know. I think it's a gamble. I think it's a gamble, signing 25 players and on the wages that some of them are. But they managed to stay up, as you say, and now they can maybe play, if they're lucky, with Champions League football next season, which would be incredible. I just don't think that's the way we should do it if it ever were to happen.
Yeah, you're right. It just seems strange to me how you got some teams that go up, like Brentford's, like your Bournemouths, like your Forest, that have done really well, been sustainable, bought players, expand the team. And you've got teams like Norwich, Leicester. They're very much like yo-yo, aren't they? They're up and down, up and down. I mean, Luton was the biggest shock. Luton to go up and then come down, and where they are now, potentially going to League One. I mean, what's all that about? I mean, surely they must get a massive, parachute payment as well. Why haven't they reinvested that money into players? I don't know what their problem is, Paul. Whether you know at all, do you? With Luton at the moment,
I think they spent quite a lot of money. I think they're just used to losing. My personal opinion. I think they got used to losing in the Premier League.
It's right now, can't get out of it. You're right.
It started slow, that's it, and then they're struggling now. But I hope they do go down as well. I really do hope they do.
Okay. Next subject. The EFL published the agent fees for this season, and I just want to bring something up here, guys. So if I just move you to the side and show you what we've got there. So here, guys, you can see there's a list. This is agent fees from February 2024 to February 2025. And you can see here, the spend of these clubs here. I mean, Leeds United, £18 million in agent fees at the moment. You've got, where is it? Sheffield United, £4.5 million in agent fees. Burnley, £5.5 million agent fees. You then got Millwall there with just over £1 million in agent fees. Now, when this is all done in alphabetical order, but when I looked at the actual the amounts and where Millwall finished in this table, I think we're about 18th. So 18th highest spend agency fees, and we're currently 9th in the league. Now, that's not too bad. When you think about what we spent on agency fees and where we are at the moment, it's pretty decent with 1.1 million. Now, you look at, say, teams like Hull, for example, £3.1 million, and they're fighting relegation at the moment. Luton, £2.4 million fighting relegation at the moment. You could argue that Middlesbrough, it's probably paid off for them £2.5 million. Leeds United, the top of the league at the moment, but nearly £19 million in agent fees. It's just ridiculous. Like, it's incredible, isn't it? And actually, you could just go through that list there. You can see the spend. I mean, Cardiff, 2.3 million, and they're fighting relegation at the moment. And then you look at teams like Portsmouth, 692,000, Oxford, 570,000. You can see where the money's being spent, guys, can't you? What's your thoughts on that? I don't know what's going first there, Jesper or Paul.
Do you want to go, mate? Go on.
Well, it's the modern day football, isn't it? I'm not particularly fond of agents, but they are there for a reason. Every player has one. And I'm not so, I don't know so much about agent and agency fees in general, but I believe it's, it's a percentage, isn't it, of the transfer fee usually that is paying then directly to the agent. And then, of course, there's a fee paid to the club that you purchased the player from, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
So, but it just goes to show that we've upped our spending as well. We've signed more expensive players, and I guess all I can say is it's part of parcel of the game. I think there are probably some dodgy agents out there. There are some agents who also have an interest in the players and try to look after the players as well as good as they can. It's just something that has happened in football because professional footballs have so much to deal with. It's not like in the old days. If you read the Harry Redknapp book where they would meet at a gas station and sign the deal, doesn't work like that anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So these agents
or Barry Fry, he has some ways of doing deals, isn't he? Or Barry Fry, we've seen that on YouTube.
It's just the modern day football. It's how it works. And even if you drop down to League One, League Two, these will have agents as well. So I don't really have much more to say on that. But these are substantial amount of fees that are being paid to agents, and maybe also a bit too much.
Yeah, £63 million there, Paul, in total. I mean, God knows what the Premier League spend would be on agent fees. It's astonishing. But what's your thoughts on Millwall spend and where we are in a position in the league at the moment? I mean, is that a good bit of business? I suppose in some ways you compare them to other teams in our league.
Yeah, I mean, it's all relative. They're weird agents fees, aren't they? Because like you say, they're like a necessary evil because everyone has them. Yeah. If you don't do them, then you're going to fall behind. So you have to kind of take part in it. But I mean, considering we've signed quite a lot of players, it's not actually as high as I thought it would be in comparison to other teams. So I feel like we've recruited a lot of players. You even have to pay when you renegotiate contracts, when you sell players, all of that. You have to pay literally the agents every single time you do anything. So.
Do agents take? Paul, one of these fees are also inclusive of players' wages. Some players they get a wage. Maybe the agent gets 10% of their wage. Is that factored into that costing as well? I wonder that total. I don't know whether that it plays a part.
I think it's just. I don't know percentages and stuff, but I think it's just whatever agreed with the club. So, for instance, take like Leeds. So theirs is stupid, right? But that will be selling as well. So they sold, for instance. Who's the geezer to Spurs? The young kid for 50 million.
Somerville.
Archie Gray. They sold Somerville.
Yeah.
So even in all that, so even though they're selling them, it's stupid. They will have to pay the agents to sell them.
Right.
So it's literally a bit of everything. So it probably looks worse than it is. But with us, when we've sold Fleming and we've brought in a load of players, like you say, Negley spent a lot of money. Yeah. I trust the club now. I think they've earned it already. I think to start in the summer, it was a bit of a worry. January was a bit desperate for it to happen. But when you see it all come to fruition, I think you can just sit back and say, right, I feel like going into the summer, I'm not going to be as worried about, we need to sign someone now. And is it going to be now? We need someone. I think I can just sit back now. Don't get me wrong, maybe a little bit. But I can sit back and say, right, you've proved it over 2 windows that we've managed to get some good players in. I can see what we're doing.
Yeah.
When you're ready, let us know, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think you look at the lower ones there. I mean, Derby, for example, they're struggling. Spent 700,000. You could argue they probably haven't spent that much on players. Hence the reason why they are. But Oxford are doing fantastic. I mean, they are, the lowest there in the league, aren't they? Regards to sort of agent fees and spending on players, but they're doing reasonably well considering their budget. Who else you got there? I mean, look at Hull City again. Like I mentioned before, over 3 million, and they're fighting relegation. It's just, it's ridiculous. It just shows you how well our club is run. When you compare us to others, and the club and James Berylson is having to put his money into the club and buy players and invest and pay these fees, and we are very, very fortunate that we are in a position we're in. I personally think anyway. So Joe,
don't forget you've got all the transfer fees on top of this. This is the small fry. This is the little bit. This is
that's right.
Teams obviously spending transfer fees on top. This is like the
add-ons,
right, but this is just stamp duty or whatever. So
exactly, yeah, good point. Yeah, very good point. Where are we? Sorry, we'll get that back to where we were. Excellent. Let's go to the chat very, very quickly. So where are we? God. Right, here we go. So, sorry, we'll catch all the club. Do you think Alex Neil would stay next year and wouldn't be tempted to go somewhere else? I don't think he'll go, guys. Would you? I would have thought, unless a substantial offer came up in a bigger club or in the Premier League. I think he's a very, very loyal guy, Alex Neil. But I think the only time I think he threw his toys out of pram a little bit was at Sunderland, wasn't it? When he got promoted, he then wanted to get paid for that to be now a Championship manager rather than a League One manager. They said no, and he had a better offer to go to Stoke, didn't he? So you can't blame him for that, can you? Beware, look what happened to Leeds and Portsmouth. Is it time he's been backed? I think he's happy. He'll stick around. Where are we? I look at the likes of Bolton, Barnsley, Bradford, etc. We're all Premier League struggles since dropping. Gap between the Premier and too vast. I'm just trying to find a bit about the players bit. Again, this is here we go. Look, Ages of Thieves. I think Luton's money got swallowed up by ground improvements. Yes, you're right, Chris. And they needed it, to be fair, didn't they? Massively.
Still a shithole.
It's still a shithole. With all the millions they spent on it, it's still shit. I think that's more the area, to be fair, Paul, rather than the actual ground. Ages should be paid by the players. They represent them, not the clubs. It's a joke. Well done, legends. Excellent. Guys, one more thing I want to touch on. There's a craze at the moment there, guys, for these action figure dolls. Have you guys seen them? The action figure dolls? Yeah. And you might have seen there's a few going around, guys, in the chat. You might have seen a few going around, some real good ones, some good fun ones. We've got a few here for the boys on the podcast. The first one is a very own Chris Chapman. Massive Millwall fan, podcast pros, love safaris. Oh, that's quite a good one. We've got Disco Steve with his beer and his disco ball. He loves it with John Travolta suit on. We've got the Sicilian Godfather himself, Angelo.
I love that one.
With his violin case and his spade and his bag of line. We've got Stephen Jones here as well. With his cricket and his shorts. He loves his shorts. So his Millwall encyclopedia. We've got one for myself here. My little black book of Millwall players' dads and my little certificate saying I scored at the Den. And we've got, I don't know what you guys are laughing at anyway. We've got one here for you guys. We've got Paul Donovan with his baby pack, his emergency pack, his life-size doll, 101 best dad jokes with his chat with chaps, and then we've even got one here for Jesper. Jesper Damgard, the modern day man. Look at that. Got his baby's bottle, got his baby diapers, his Viking hat, and his Millwall encyclopedia as well.
Absolutely spot on.
I'll send that to you later, Jesper, so you could have that. Chris Brown, are you still in the chat room, Chris Brown? If you are, give us a thumbs up or a hello. You did this earlier for Stephen Jones. That is naughty. that is naughty. I mean, look at our one, which I thought was a bit more, a bit more likely. Looks like him, but Stephen, our new striker. That is terrible. That is terrible. That's from Chris Brown, not from myself. But Stephen Jones is the nicest Millwall fan ever. So I think that was very, very fitting. Guys, in the chat, if you late to the chat, there was an announcement early in the chat that we raised for the cancer research this season so far, £8,145 raised, which is incredible. And that's done through donations through the website. That's done through so for the fans collection day on Saturday. That's shirts being purchased online and on the day as well. Not the YouTube channel, but I think the podcast, as in I think like Spotify, I think that's all been added onto that as well. Am I forgetting anything else, guys? Jesper and Paul, where the revenue came from? That's pretty much most of it, isn't it? Really. Yeah. So yeah, and a massive achievement, and again, massive thanks to all the guys on the podcast. Thanks to for Chris, obviously, for organising it. Thanks to Phil Clark for doing all the stuff behind the scenes with the players, stuff like that. His son Jack on the day was immense. Paul's kids as well, massive help. Even Mr. Chaps, Daddy Chaps, and Mummy Chaps were helping out on the day as well. So thanks to you guys, and to Soph, Chris's missus, put all the effort, all the work in there as well. So it gave us a fantastic day, a lovely amount raised, and that amount ain't going to end there, guys. We've still got a few more games left. We've still got opportunity to donate. So if you haven't donated already, guys, make sure you donate, and let's try and get that total even higher before the season ends. Of course, guys. Is there anything else we need to add? Anything else you want to discuss before we move on to the next game?
Craig Jones just raised the question, said thoughts on the new hospitality areas that apparently
great shout.
Yeah,
great shout. I mean, go on.
I've only seen the sort of the 3D photos going around, and I think it looks very good. I haven't been to any of the hospitality areas in the kitchen and stand, but I think if that were to be the improvement, it looks decent. You have to remember that football is an entertainment business, and you want to sell a good product, and if that's going to be the product, that looks really decent. I also think Steve mentioned that the fan zone behind the Coldblow Lane has improved massively. I don't know when Steve went last time, if that was 1988, but still, I think even when I go, and even when I came first time in 2007, that area has improved massively, and it's actually an area now that you want to be in before the game, that you can go have a pint and have a chat with your mates, and several options, in terms of food and beverages and so on. So, yeah, really good. Like the improvements around the ground.
Yeah, no, I have to agree, and they're always striving, aren't they? The club to try and find ways to improve it, and even though they've got the old DJ bit up there, which I think is great, it just adds to the atmosphere and to the occasion, like you say, and really, really good. Chris Brown, he is there. Chris, I mean, come on, like. Really? And new striker. What a get. I'm joking, Chris. Cheers, mate, for that. Why is Disco called Disco Steve? So basically, a very, very long story, and it probably won't make much sense to you. Probably won't even be that funny. But we used to talk about Millwall's transfer windows and how Millwall are always the team that kind of picks, the crap players that are left over. And I think I might mention, it's like, back in your younger days when you used to go out to a nightclub, you're desperately trying to pull a girl, and you wait till like 2:00 in the morning, it's the last orders, whatever, and you're so desperate, you just take whatever's on the shelf, don't you? And Disco loved it. He kept using that adage all the time. And I don't know why, I just sort of started from there. We talked about the disco, 2 a.m. at the disco, 2 a.m. at the disco, and then Steve become Disco Steve. So that's kind of how it all started. So there, I told you, it's not going to be that funny, but that's where it stems from. David Donovan, is that your brother, Paul?
It's my dad. He donated as well.
Well done, David. David, great work for Cancer Research team. Cheers, David. Thanks for your donation, and thanks for donating Paul to this podcast as well. Thank you for producing him and bringing him to this world. And London Lion looks like Rooney. Oh, is that the model, the figure? Yeah, it might do. Hit the like button, guys. David Turner says hit the like button. Again, guys, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. I think we're about 100 subscribes away from 2,000. Am I right in saying that, Jesper? Paul? I know we talked about it on the group chat earlier, didn't we? We mentioned that it was about over 100 short of 2,000. Yeah. So, guys, if you're on here and you watch us, you listen to this, and you haven't subscribed yet to Chat with Chaps YouTube channel, please give it a like and subscribe. And you can even click on a little bell, which will give you an announcement every time we go live or there's a video out there. You'll get a little notification telling you about it. So make sure you do that. Chris Brown says, mate, it was my first one, just trying it out. Dave Turner, anyone going to the end of season awards? Great shout. I'm going. You going, Paul?
Yes, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. Jesper unfortunately can't fly over for that one. Well, you are coming over in August, aren't you, Jesper? So, guys,
yes,
next season, hopefully we'll be in the Premier League next season. Make sure if you're around there in August, look out for Jesper. Although Jesper ain't going to be with our mere mortals. You're going to be with all the posh guys, aren't you, in the exec lounge? Is that right?
Yeah, but I want to try it out, and I thought, why not for my 40th? So, I'll be in the hospitality lounge if I can get some tickets.
Yeah. No, the end of the season awards is really good, guys. Guys, in the chat, if you haven't been before, do think about going. I know it's not cheap. I think it's about 100 or 150 pounds, I think, for a ticket. But it's a great occasion. It's a great celebration. You know, you sit at the table with a couple of players, and after the foods and all that's over, you just roam around the room. Everyone just talks. You talk to all the players. They'll have a few beers for you as well. It's a good night. It's a really, really good night. Last joke, yeah, no problem, David. Big E says you see Southwark News talk about moving the away end. I didn't see that. Did you guys see that at all?
I think it was the Southwark News Premium Plus, so I couldn't read the article.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. No, I didn't see that, Big E. But if you can share it on here, mate, let us know. Please do. Steve Crossgrove says, "Yo, this is Kai. Hi, Paul."
So from football training, that's my best mate, and that's his son Kai. Who can I just say, Steve got two of the assists tonight, so I've got to praise him for that. two of my assists. Yeah, but
can I just say, Kai is a really, really cool name. My youngest son's called Kai as well, spelled the same way. So well done, Kai, mate. You've got a great name. I bet you're a great footballer as well. Cheers for that, Steve. Thanks for the comment. Chris Brown, is it true tickets are £1,000 each for that? No. I don't. I think it's £1,000 for the table. I think it's eight to a table.
1,200, something like that, yeah.
About 1,200 for the table, Chris. But of course, you're paying individually. It works out about 150 quid, I think it is, and you get a 3-course meal and some bottles of wine and whatever. I think that you've chucked in for it. You're right, Dave Turner. It's at the Doubletree this year. The Hilton, is it Hilton Doubletree? I think they called it. Prawn sandwich for Jesper in the exec lounge. Yes, exactly. But guys, if you haven't seen the pictures on the exec lounge, what they're planning to do is incredible. I mean, it looks like a Premier League lounge. The way they designed it, and if they could do it how they want to do it, it's going to look really good. It's going to put more numbers in there as well. So no more of these kind of round tables. There'll be kind of square tables side by side in a row. Lovely kind of bar areas right across the whole side of the wall, and it looks really, 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 really nice. So I tell you what, and you guys touched on it earlier, the way how our club has evolved. We're looking like a Premiership club at the moment. With what goes on outside, what's going on down in the exec lounge, and everything the club are doing is incredible. And a massive, massive respect to James Berylson for what he's doing. Put his money in his pocket, and Mark Fairbrother as well as the MD. He's looking at all these things, and it's a great time to be a Millwall fan, isn't it, at the moment? And thanks a lot for everything you do for us, of course. Dave Turner just confirmed 165 this year. Where can I see the pictures of the exec lounge? I've got them, but I haven't got them on here to show you at the moment. But I'm sure they will be out soon. So if I can, I'll try and get it on next week's live to give you an idea what that looks like. There's an event for all ticket holders Thursday, 24th of April, to go through all the plans for the fans. There you go. Cheers for confirming that, Dan. But very, very, very exciting news. Also, guys, a little bit of information to give you on the where are we? On the 6th of May. On the 6th of May, if you're bored and you live local and you fancy watching a really high level football at the Den, myself and all the other over 40s vets are playing in a charity game at the Den. I believe it's free entry. So if you want to come on or support or throw eggs and take the piss out of me, you're welcome to come down. That's the 6th of May at Mill, at the Den, at an over 40s charity game. We're all going to be all kitted out, home shirts, away shirts. I did it for the last sort of 2 or 3 seasons. I must say it's great fun. So, yeah, if you're bored on the 6th of May, it's a Tuesday night, Tuesday evening, and you fancy coming down for a bit of a laugh, the bar will be open afterwards for a couple of beers. If you want to have a beer as well, you're welcome to come down to the Den and watch that game. Guys, Friday, we're playing Blackburn away, Jesper. You touched on it earlier, didn't you, about we haven't got quite a good history against them. What do you make of the of that fixture? How do you see it going, and what's our chances really getting a win?
No, as you said, it's not been a happy hunting ground for us since we came back up some 8-9 years ago. But I mean, records are there to be broken, and Blackburn is not in any sort of good shape or form. Although they did beat Luton, but I don't know if that says anything, since Luton is also on a terrible run. I don't know really what expectations to have. I just hope that we will sort of
so just
play the way we.
Sorry, I'll just read Alex's comment there. Because I scored one goes, you need one more goal to overtake Langstaff. Sorry, Jesper.
Yeah, I think you need some new memorabilia as well. You can put up sometimes. You
Yes,
don't have to
exactly.
watch the same one over.
Exactly.
But no, yeah. But we're going to Ewood Park. I hope we play with that freedom, that sort of desire that we played with, and let's see what we can get. I mean, we have to be realistic. We are still chasing a pack of 2 teams who are above us. We've got an inferior goal difference as well. And I think if we were to make the playoff, it won't be because we are a very attacking team. It will be because our defense has done a good job, and we can shut out teams and we can win, the odd 2-1, 1-0 game here and there. A bit like Luton did a couple of years ago. If you remember, they didn't score many goals as well, but they were really solid, and that was the reason they went up. But yeah, just hope to see a good performance again, and then we'll see what the result will be at the end. Yeah, I'm sure Alex will be up for it, and the team will have a proper go.
Excellent. Cheers, Jesper. And Paul, what's your thoughts for Blackburn this Friday?
I'm confident. I am confident. I think we're going to turn up. Whether we can win or not, obviously, that's not going to be an easy task. I know they won. They was in really bad form, weren't they? And they've managed to win last time out. But I've just got a good feeling. I just feel like we're going to pick up 3 points Friday, and then it would just be on down to. I think Norwich will be a tougher game. We always seem to struggle against them. James Sargent, or is it James Sargent? Sargent, he always seems to do well against us.
Yeah, you're right. Josh Sargent. Good player to be fair, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a good player. Yeah.
He is.
But, yeah, I'm confident, mate. It'll be a tight game. Hopefully we can kind of patch everyone up and get them out, wheel them out. Then obviously they've got to go again on Monday. What about you, mate? What do you think?
I'm nervous, but I think we can beat them. I think we're on this kind of roll at the moment. I think the mindset's there. I think we know what we've got to do. I think someone mentioned in the comments earlier, we've got 4 more cup finals left, haven't we? I think we treat every game as our cup final at the moment, and we're on such a high, confidence is high. Blackburn, I know that they turned the result around the last game, but prior to that, I think they lost like 5 or 6 in a row, didn't they? So the wheels definitely come off Blackburn at the moment. So I feel we've got a very, very good chance. It won't be an easy game. I'm guessing there'll be another 1-0 win, maybe, but I can see us doing it. Guys, if you two want to just carry on together for now, I'm going to try and get these pictures up for the guys in the chat of the executive lounge to give you an idea what it looks like. So if you guys don't mind just cracking on for now, and I'll try and get this sorted in the background. That's okay.
What'd you have for dinner, Jesper?
You can slowly hear people logging off now. Jesus Christ.
No, don't.
Yeah, no. But one thing I want to add to these final 4 games is I don't really look at the teams we're playing. We always say, we should be winning this and this game against these teams, and we don't. And then suddenly, we're not going to pick up points here, and there, and then suddenly we do. I just look at it as we're in good form. We're playing a team who's not in a good form, and I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful we can do something on Friday. And Norwich, a tough one, but again, a team who's got nothing to play for. You can go to both ways as well. Are they playing just with freedom, a bit of swagger? Or are they just are they already on the beach? We don't know. And what does the game mean to us as well? So, but yeah, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Let's see what we can do Friday, and let's see how the league table looks like.
So, assuming Coburn comes back in.
Yeah, Bangura Williams could be in contention as well.
Williams, yeah, see that.
Maybe not for start, but Aziz.
I think Bangura could be. Sorry to interrupt you guys. I think Bangura might be out for the season now. It seems. I think he's had a bit of a relapse on that injury, sadly. So the news I'm hearing is he could be out. Unfortunately, well, he's going to be out for 2 or 3 weeks, which probably puts him out for the whole season. To be fair, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sadly, I thought I read in the thing today that he was back soon. So that's a shame. But Well, and also I was going to say to you, what I don't know if you discussed Langstaff from the other day. What did you think? Obviously, I feel like he's come on and he's changed the game, but I feel like he has so many unlucky moments. Is it unlucky, or is it just that chance he had?
That chance he had, we were trying to claim a penalty. What was he doing there?
It wasn't a penalty. I screamed. I thought it was, but it wasn't.
It wasn't. And again, having the luxury of seeing the highlights, of seeing the other angle of it looked even worse from behind the goal. And all I keep thinking to myself is, if a prime Bradshaw was in that position, would he have scored that chance? And I think 9 times out of 10, or probably 10 times out of 10 actually, he would have put that one away. But again, Langstaff, he just seems to lack that little bit of quality at this level. I don't know whether it's because he still hasn't quite adjusted to the speed of the Championship, and maybe he's still kind of tuned into kind of that League 2 speed. But again, it just didn't react quick enough, did he? And he sort of just goes down and another missed opportunity. I don't know what you guys think about that.
I think he is still adjusting. I think he's had a really tough season, but I think what he does when he does come on is that he puts the defense under a huge amount of pressure with his energy. So I think that's really good to see. That I think that's what Alex Neil wants as well. I think we all wanted to see more goals from him, but I don't think that's only on him. I think that should be more players, contributing with goals. But yeah, I think he has improved slightly since Alex Neil has come in, but he hasn't played much, to be honest. But I think he does what he's told, and that is to keep pressing, keep staying on the the shoulder of the defender, and keep chasing everything. And I think he's done that fairly good, yeah.
Okay, I've got cheers that, but I've got the pictures now of the lounge, which I'll share with the chat, the guys, the listeners on here. Before I do, we talk about players that who've improved under Alex Neil and ones that haven't. I mean, there's probably 2 players in Marku who I think is still a working assignment for Alex Neil. He's not quite getting the best out of him. He certainly finds it frustrating. You can see Alex Neil sometimes being, quite animated, in the sidelines, where I think he wants Marku to take the full back on, and he doesn't do it, and he probably lacks a bit of confidence, or he runs out of ideas how to get past players. You can see how frustrated for Alex Neil, but he is persevering with him. He is giving him a go. And to your point, I guess, guys, back to Langstaff, another player who maybe Alex Neil hasn't quite got the best out of either at the moment. So be interested to get your thoughts on that. Before we do that, let's just have a quick look at these pictures, guys. Guys, if you're still watching and you're interested, here are the these pictures. So again, apologies, it's a little bit small. You might have to get really close to the screen there, but that gives you an idea of what it's going to look like. So probably space 2 down below, you can sort of see the tables where they're positions and stuff. You can see the amount of people that are going to fit into there. It's going to be quite incredible, really. And then where are we? This one, space 1.
Have one.
Yes. Have I got the right one?
No, same one again.
Same one again. Right. I'll get the other one up later. I can't seem to upload the second one, but that just gives you an idea, doesn't it, of what they're looking to achieve there. Let me see if I can try and find that second space. Oh yes, hang on. Yeah, but guys, while we're waiting, what's your thoughts? Sorry, on Imarku, guys.
Can I just say, finally, you're showing that you are 50.
I'm not 50 yet. I'm 49.
He does one finger typing.
I'm 49. I'm 49 and a half. And 3/4. I'm not quite 50 yet. What's your thoughts on Imarku?
I've said before, see, it's hard because you get like an affiliation with someone. You just think like I want him to do well. Same as I've had it with Billy for ages, and I've got the same with Idemo, right? So I really want him to do well. And for me, I just think we've criminally mismanaged him as a player. I think he should have been on loan. He should have been out playing games 18 months ago. So he's actually starting now.
Paul, didn't Harris want him to go out on loan at the time? If you remember,
Harris, he did, but it fell through because we couldn't sign whoever we wanted. The Fulham winger. We wanted the Fulham winger on loan, Godo, and that fell through at the last minute. So Idemo couldn't go to Wickham, which is gutting because then Harris didn't play him for 6 months anyway. But he's at the minute he's an impact player. He's a very good impact player, and he struggles from the start. I thought he was the first half on Saturday. He actually looked disinterested, and I don't believe he was disinterested for 1 second. It just looked like that, but. That was probably the worst I've seen. But it would surprise me if this comes on.
Is that a confidence?
Bit of everything. And he even said about he knows his body, didn't he? Yeah, he just said if I do too much and I break down. So I don't know.
Okay.
Oh,
interesting.
Someone said about faults on Kundle. Alex has said faults on Kundle. That's more worrying to me because I still have when you watch a player, I think you can see little bits in them and you think, right, well, I can see what you're bringing. I can see what you're bringing. At the minute, again, full faith that he was going to come in, he's going to do well at some point. At the minute, I can't work out for the life of me what he's doing. And I think he's doing less in the 10 than Honeyman was when he was getting pelters. So hopefully when we've got a couple more ball players, maybe he comes in and he picks up. But at the minute, I can't see what we've bought.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely spot on. Just going to the chat very quickly. So, Joe, you need to get one more over. Wayne Rooney being tipped to be Blackburn's new manager. Why does Wayne Rooney still get his chances, guys? I don't get it. Do you? I mean, where has he been?
No.
Where he's had any slight success, apart from maybe was it over in America when he was a coach out there? I think he did okay there for a little period, didn't he? From memory.
What does that say? Nothing.
But I think he did have one of the best teams to manage out there, didn't he? From the sounds of it as well,
Where has he been? He's been at Derby, relegated, right? He's been at Birmingham. Well, he didn't stay because he got fired. And then it was at Plymouth. Which was also where they rock bottom or when he was fired last season or I don't know. Consistent. I don't understand. Yeah, he's consistent. Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Consistent. Exactly. Bangura Williams was in the Cobrelli on Saturday. He was there with his family. Great kids. And I'm hoping big things for Bangura Williams next season. Get the summer out of the way, pre-season. We're going to be seeing some big things from him next season. Try to see the one about Kundle, Paul. Just coming to it now. Thanks, played.
Next one.
Alex says, thoughts on Kundle, for me, not quite cutting it. You know what? I think he had his best game against Sheffield United away. When we played that diamond midfield and he played on the left side of the diamond midfield, I thought he had his best game in the Millwall shirt. And he didn't score anything like doing his debut, but I just felt he looked a better player. I saw the quality in him there. A lot of people have asked him that he should be playing centre midfield. I don't know whether he should be playing centre as in like the DM role, like Saville will play or Mitchell. I think he's a little bit too slight to play in that position. But certainly in that diamond midfield, I thought he done pretty well. If I remember rightly, I think we had Mitchell at the bottom, didn't we, with the diamond? We had Honeyman on the right, Kundle on the left, and then Casper on top of the diamond. And that really worked for us. I think our midfield looked really strong at Sheffield United. And I wonder whether he might revert to that again come Friday, because he'll have Coburn back, won't he? So he might go two up top again and then play the four, especially now we ain't got Negley available. I suppose if Aziz does come on again, he could play a different formation then if he doesn't start him, What's your thoughts though, Kundle, guys?
Same as you, sort of struggled to figure out where his best position is in our team. So, I agree with you. He looked decent against Sheffield United. I don't think he was fantastic, but he looked better than he did in other games. But it's a tricky one to figure out at the moment. I don't think he's a lost cause in any way, but just struggled to find his feet a little bit. And it'll be interesting to hear from Alex actually what he thinks Luke Cundle's best position is, because he's played him in several positions now. So it's not like he's had him nailed down for number 10. He's switched him to a central midfielder, and he's just said left in a diamond formation. And I think he was he on the wing in one game as well, on the left? I believe there was one game when he played him on the left. And so really unfortunate, but I guess all signings will not become gold. So I think we maybe have to stay patient with this one, and then hopefully he will slowly kick on and show why we bought him. And as for Idemo, he cuts a frustrating figure for me, because there's definitely some talent there, but as Paul said, he's just I don't know. He doesn't start games very well. He's a really good impact player, but it's like against Sheffield United and against Borough, it just seems like he's holding back. There's several times in these games where he went one-on-one with the defender, and I thought, we'll take him on then. And then he takes one step back and he passes back to the defender. I'm like, well,
you're actually spot on.
And I'm saying he's not a one-trick pony. But one thing he is good at is when he comes up against defenders that he can actually run at them, and he don't uses that. And then he becomes bang average to look at.
But even on Saturday, just when he did do that a couple of times, it's almost like he gave up. If the defender sort of had a slight edge on him, it's like he'll back off.
He was also quite quick, wasn't he, Dijksteel? I think he was fairly quick. But you're right. It was like he was not putting on the burners, was it? It was not like he was trying. It seemed like he was running at 80%, and we know how quick he can be. And that's what frustrates me sometimes. It seems like he's holding back. Well, he just be running full steam, where he can really do some damage.
To your point, Jesper, to your point, he did that on more than one occasion. And where I sit at the top end of the kitchen stand, you can look down and you can see it quite clear behind the dugout. And when the ball came to him and he played it back, Alex Neil was going mad, like shouting him, throwing his arms. And you could see that he was more or less telling him, take the player on, take the player on. And because Marky chose to kind of face backwards and play the ball back to Joe Bryan, Alex Neil was fuming. Like literally, he was fuming, And I don't know whether that's good man management or bad management. Maybe he thinks whether Marky probably needs that kick up the arse a little bit. Who knows, But he's definitely struggling with some kind of confidence, it seems. As you say, he's a different player from coming off the bench to starting games, isn't he?
True.
What did you think of Dijksteel? Obviously, because we tried to sign him in January, didn't we? And he's out of contract end of the season. They only kept him because I think they had an injury to their right back. So, based on that performance, would you have him?
But he will be 29, won't he? I think this year, or I don't know if he is already 29. I don't.
So it doesn't fit our module, does it? That kind of
no, I don't think so. And you got Leonard on a new contract as well. I think we will bring in someone. It doesn't have to be a teenager, but I think it will be a younger one,
a young player.
Early 20s, I think.
Exactly. And also, when you look at Kramer, has he been called into? Is it the under 23 squad or something at the moment? The France? Is it the France under 20 squad or under 23 squad? I think it is. I'm not sure if you've seen that.
Kramer?
Yeah.
No, that was the there was a
week.
Yeah, they did like a French team of the week.
Oh, I thought it's all in French. I didn't quite understand what it meant. I was shit in French at school. I got an F in French GCSE. I was that shit. All I knew in French was bonjour, au revoir, and je voudrais une bouteille de bière. That's all I knew in French. I didn't know nothing else. So excuse me. Yeah. So that wasn't a French team, was it?
Well, no, mate. Not unless Camavinga's in there with him, and whoever else was in there. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I was getting quite excited for a second there. Another international player on our books, Not quite. So, guys, I think we kind of reached the hour and a half now, Mark. We kind of reached the end. So, we touched on a lot of things today. We talked about our performance on Saturday. We talked on the charity side of things as well, guys. We talked about the player performances on Saturday, our playoff hopes. If we got into the Premiership, how will we survive? How will we cope? Which is a good topic of discussion. Agency fees we covered off as well. And, of course, Blackburn and our current crop of players. Again, guys, in the chat, thank you so much for being with us this evening. Really do appreciate you tuning in as always. Again, for you who haven't seen this, this is the final amount we've raised so far, which is an incredible £8,145.55. Don't forget 55 pence now. But that is incredible. Yeah, it really, really is incredible. And that's donated by all the Millwall fans who donated through the bucket collection, donating online, on the contactless machines we've been using, buying the signed shirts, and also there's some revenue from the podcast, from the Spotify's and Apple's, I believe. However, there's still a little bit more to add to it through the YouTube. So again, guys, if you haven't done already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, because by you liking, by you commenting, the more views we get, the more money gets donated. And Chris is going to announce what that figure is at the end of the season for all the money we've raised from YouTube will go to that total. So I'm hoping it could be well over $9,000 by that point. Hopefully even 10 grand. You don't know if things carry on the way they are. So that would be incredible for our first ever season. And what a fantastic charity contribution for Cancer Research UK. Guys, anything you want to add before we leave, Paul? Anything you want to say before you go?
No, just same again. Thank you so much to just all you guys and all the people that donated. Just class act. It was a great day, and let's hope there's a few more before the end of the season, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really good day, and again, your kids were unbelievable, Paul. Chip off the old block. So it's good that they helped out as well. Thanks. Good to see you on Saturday, mate. Jesper, anything you want to add before we finish off?
No, just want to say happy Easter to everyone. Really good job on Saturday again. I always try to tell people what this club is all about, because all people see in the media is how terrible we are and how shit we are, etc., etc. But and I remember I shat my pants when I came down the first time in 2007. But I have to say, you're
about 7'5", Jesper. How the hell you shit your pants? I don't know.
That was my first game. But I have to tell you, all the people I've met over the years, wherever I've come, and the generosity of the fan base is exceptional. Whether that's Dockers Day, whether that is Memorial Day, whether that is Collection Day, for anything, people turn up in their numbers, and they are, it's fantastic to see. And we should be really proud of that, even though that sort of goes under the radar because it's not so interesting for the media. So again, happy Easter. Roll on Friday. If we get a positive result, what a day that could be on Monday against Norwich. And I'm sure it will be a fantastic turnout for that game. So yeah.
Let's hope so. Fingers crossed. And to your point, Jess, we're just saying about your size. I'm quite a tall guy. I'm about 6'2", 6'3". You're taller than me. And the first time I met you, Paul Donovan was in the Harry's bar with us. And as me, you would sort of hug and say hello. Paul sort of disappeared, didn't he? He was in between us 1 minute. Next minute, he just vanished. So where did Paul go?
He's got the wrong height. With Disco Steve Saturday, it was beautiful. Me and Disco were at the same height.
I saw you on your tippy toes, but he was wearing his platform shoes. He was cheating, weren't he, to be fair? But guys, Paul and Jesper, again, thank you so much, guys, for being getting your time this evening, being with us. Love having you guys on here. You talk sense and you know your stuff, and funny guys too. So again, listeners, thank you so much for being with us this evening. Enjoy the rest of your week. As Alex has said, let's hope that make this Friday a good Friday for the right reasons. Yeah. Let's get the 3 points. Let's keep the dream alive. And you never know, one day we could be in that playoff final and hopefully get our ticket to the Premier League. Let's all hope and wish. Guys, have a good week, and we'll see you next week. All the best. Bye for now.
Hi, it's Steve Morrison here, and you're listening to Chat with Chaps, chatting Millwall, come rain or shine.